to the third edition of Caltex Video Magazine. Get ready for another trip around the world of Caltex. I'm your host, Gloria Barron.
In this edition, big changes at Caltex Services Corporation. A closer look at Caltex's return to Vietnam. The company announces its next chairman and new chief financial officer.
Topping the news, David Law Smith has been named to succeed Patrick J. Ward as the next chairman of Caltex Petroleum Corporation. Law Smith, who joined Caltex in 1961, has served most recently as its chief financial officer. He will assume his new post on September 1st, when Ward retires. Malcolm J. McCauley, the corporate secretary of Chevron, has been appointed as Caltex's new CFO effective June 1st. Caltex Petroleum is not the only company in our family undergoing significant changes. Over the past 2.5 years, Caltex Services Corporation has opened the throttle on continuous improvement. Lyle Johnson tells us more.
Caltex Services Corporation. 3 short words with such a powerful meaning. Fred Stanmeyer, President and CEO of Caltex Services Corporation, says CSC is an organization that, as a shared resource, affords economies of scale. CSC also provides economies of excellence by maintaining cutting-edge knowledge in its areas of expertise.
I guess the easiest way to describe it is that it's really a collection of real internationally recognized experts in their fields. And these fields are the core technology competencies that we think are really important to the success of Caltex. I think another very important function of Caltex Services Corporation is to facilitate and promote the technical synergy within the Caltex group of companies.
To this end, CSC now includes members from the field companies on its board. Another innovation will be the Technical Advisory Group, or TAG. The group will consist of people from the field and will advise the board on technical matters. It's another way of putting the customer first.
Well, actually, I'd like to say at the Caltex Service board meeting, we had a great presentation on their vision, mission. I think they've really got it online. They know what they're doing, they know what they want to do. They are really on to customer first. That's the drive of the service company now, and I think it'll be well received.
Stanmeyer says the change CSC has seen did not happen overnight.
The roles exercise helped identify what it was CSC had to become. It became very clear that CSC had to become in effect technical partners with our operating companies.
Making sure that everyone was aware of the changed vision and mission was the next step. Tim Coombs, General Manager of Refinery Profitability, says putting it all on videotape is a good way of bringing alignment to management, board members, and staff.
So the purpose is to form this framework of interrelating statements that act to guide us in order to achieve our vision.
Coombs says this production, known as the business connection, lets everyone, including the customers, know where the company is going. With customer satisfaction being the #1 goal, CSC has become the center of a great technical company.
I think the big change is the change of attitude from, a technical center, which they are, but now a living company that interacts with customers, finds out what the customers need, and go to great lengths to satisfy that. I think that's the real difference.
Recently, delegates from Thailand had a chance to visit Caltex and get a better understanding of regulations and technologies affecting the operations of service stations in the United States. Kimberly Boyce has the story.
Focusing on underground tanks and methods of controlling air pollution, Thailand officials traveled to study petroleum operations in North America. These officials are responsible for updating regulations and installation standards for service stations in Thailand. The group traveled to Canada, Los Angeles, Memphis, and Dallas, getting a better idea of how to run an efficient station.
Well, first of all, it's quite a privilege to be selected to make such a presentation to these senior officials. And I think we're quite encouraged that they don't go back into a closed room and come up with some regulations without consulting industry. So the presentation was really a description of the history of service station regulations, in particular underground tank and vapor recovery regulations, and the technologies that have been put in place here in the United States.
After the classroom presentation, the visitors went to the Texaco Star Enterprise Terminal near Dallas, where they saw equipment and processes used in terminal vapor recovery.
What you're looking at here is the gas absorption unit that was recovering the vapors from the tank truck loading rack. The Star Enterprise people found it didn't recover the liquids they anticipated, and it was very high maintenance intensive. So then they've now changed over to an incinerator system over on your right.
There is no full service, and I think you're all...
The visit to the terminal was followed by trips to Texaco and Chevron service stations to observe leak prevention technologies in place and in use. 2 of the stations were under construction, so the group could view the tanks and spill containment features as they were being installed.
They have the bottom loading here. They have the double skin tanks, double skin wall made by fiberglass. And they have the what you call the carbon canister. We have learned a lot, but we have to bring it to our country, and we have to adopt it.
It's very important for us to maintain an ongoing and positive dialogue with all the government officials, but in particular in the area of environmental regulations. So at the end of the day, I think both parties felt it was a very worthwhile experience. And we made a commitment that as they go back to Thailand, if they have any questions, we'll be glad to supply them with additional information.
When more than 140,000 people lost their lives in Kobe, Japan, Caltex was able to lend a hand to the Red Cross in its rescue efforts. Here's more on that story.
In the early morning hours of January 17th this year, the Japanese city of Kobe was shaken violently from its slumber by a massive earthquake that registered 7.2 on the Richter scale. In a mere 20 seconds, this seismic upheaval spawned more destruction than any in Japan's history since 1923. 19 miles away in Osaka, the quake triggered an immediate shutdown of Caltex's Koa refinery. Fortunately, the damage at Koa was minimal, without casualties, fire, or leakage. After a rigorous safety inspection, Koa came back online on January 20th.
Although Caltex has had some minor damage to one of its facilities in Osaka Bay, our primary concern is with the terrible plight of the people that have been left homeless and have had trouble getting their basic needs fulfilled.
Those closer to Kobe, however, were not so lucky. The tremors resulted in collapsed highways and buildings, widespread fires, and a staggering loss of life. As always in a disaster situation, the Red Cross was on the scene, providing emergency assistance to thousands of injured and homeless.
Since the time the earthquake started in Kobe, the Japanese Red Cross has been on the scene, and they've been transporting victims to hospitals and first aid centers. They've been providing food and clothing. They've been operating shelters, and all of those things take a great deal of money.
Caltex lost no time in offering aid to the earthquake victims, donating $50,000 to the Red Cross's relief efforts in Kobe.
Construction on Star Petroleum's Mataput installation continues to stride forward in the first quarter. 1995 saw the refinery reaching for the sky when the largest crane in the world was used to install the 3 huge process columns. The largest of these columns will stand higher than a 22-story building. On both the LPG and product piers, deck work is over 90% complete and top works are being constructed. Writing of the immense operating manual continues at an average rate of 100 documents a week. At the current pace, the project in Thailand should be completed months ahead of schedule and 7 months earlier than similar installations constructed by competitors. In April, Caltex's chief field executives met in Beijing, China to focus on the company's strategic objectives. Caltex Video Magazine spoke with Jock McKenzie on his return from China.
The prime purpose of the CFE meeting was to run through the vision for the company and our strategy as we go forward into the future. We talked primarily about strategy, what we believe the future world is likely to look like, how we see elements such as refining margins, crude prices going as we move forward, and then we talked about Caltex's strategy in this competitive environment.
In quality news, Lanka Lubricants of Sri Lanka has commissioned an accredited ISO 9000 program. And in Hong Kong, a start was made on Phase 2 of the ISO 9000 program for fuel operations at the Singhi terminal. Aviation operations of Caltex Alkalis in Dubai achieved ISO 9002 certification in January. In February, operations at Australian Lubricating Oil Refining Proprietary Limited completed an ISO 9002 certification assessment and are now registered. And at Yocheon, Korea, Honam Oil's polypropylene and BTX plants achieved certification. In Bahrain, Bapco was certified for all its production, storage, and shipping operations. In March, Caltex Pakistan's lab facility was certified to ISO 9002 for all manufacturing and marketing support activities. And the Caltex refinery in Batangas, Philippines successfully completed its ISO 9002 assessment in April. So it looks like all the hard work and preparation you saw in our last program paid off for them. Congratulations for all your continuing quality efforts. Now, moving to the thrill of high speeds. Back in March, Caltex families, guests, and customers met in Australia for the electrifying Indy 500 at Surfers Paradise near Brisbane. Some came for the relaxation and sunshine, others for the international camaraderie.
Hi, I'm John Falzon. I'm representing Energy Developments. I look after the South Australian division. I'd like to take this opportunity and thank Caltex Haviland for their effort in providing us the opportunity of coming up to watch the Indy car race. It has been magnificently presented.
And what's a race without Michael Andretti? Andretti and Caltex proved to be the ultimate winning combination.
Thank you very much. First I want to thank the whole Kmart Caltex team. They did a great job preparing me a great card this weekend, and hopefully we can carry this over till tomorrow and get that 30 grand from you guys.
Teaming technology and skill, Andretti and Caltex both came away victors. Caltex areas of operations include many emerging economies. Some of the most exciting opportunities are to be found in areas such as Cambodia, Myanmar, and Indonesia, and especially the newly reopened markets of Vietnam.
After 19 years, Caltex has returned to Vietnam. Vietnam has a population of 70 million people. They are well educated and possess tremendous entrepreneurial spirit. Caltex has an ambitious business plan for re-entry into this market. To establish a major retail presence, the terminals needed to support this and potentially refining equity.
And it's really kind of interesting to a company that was there up until '75 and now to be back, and tremendous goodwill. What they call the gray hairs, the older people there really remember Caltex, huh? And what they remember most, I think, is we weren't the biggest then, right? But they remember this tremendous reputation for quality, huh? So I think we want to continue, we want to come back in and build on that reputation for quality that we had.
The Caltex name is being reintroduced through outlets such as these bike washes. People take their motorbikes in to be cleaned and serviced, and Caltex branded lubricants are now being sold at 84 of these stations. Signage is in place to support an advertised product. The plan is to establish Caltex products through its lubes and work into the MoGas and diesel business when downstream retail marketing of fuels is permitted. A Caltex office has been opened in the capital of Hanoi and a branch in Ho Chi Minh City. Marcel Dubois, Chief Representative in Ho Chi Minh City, will be doing a lot of the groundwork. There are also plans to implement training programs to share knowledge and develop the workforce as more nationals are hired. In Singapore, General Manager Richard Knight is heading a core study team to verify and realize the entry plan.
And part of what will come out of the study that we're looking at is who would be an appropriate joint venture partner to work with Caltex in Vietnam to put this ambitious program in place.
The opening of the Caltex representative office was celebrated in December at the Hanoi Opera House.
Dr. Ho, who was the head of Petro-Vietnam and a very important figure in the Vietnamese oil industry, was kind enough to make answering remarks. And they would certainly be a company that we would be very interested in as a potential joint venture partner.
The ceremony also kicked off sales, which have been excellent according to Han. Caltex is off to a great start in these emerging markets.
Caltex has taken a proactive role in its support and contributions to the communities in which it operates. Kim McRae tells us more about this effort.
Excitement is high in the wake of Caltex's 4-year commitment to the Save the Children Foundation.
I think it is very useful to focus that money in a specific way where we get synergistic benefit from our employees' interest as well as a focused program which will give us a relationship that can be used to the benefit of Save the Children as well as Caltex.
Participating on several fronts with the worldwide organization, Caltex's new involvement is aimed at working together with Save the Children. Initially, this partnership includes program support in Vietnam, the Philippines, Pakistan, and Mozambique. In addition to monetary backing, Caltex's goals include a commitment to oversee the way donations are utilized. For example, in Vietnam, local contributions have been used to put a nutritional program in place. The plan looks at the growth rates of children to determine the dietary factors that contribute the most to good health. In several villages, the addition of greens and krill to the children's staple diet of rice has shown positive results in the improvement of overall health and quality of life.
I think for the first time we're trying to focus effort in creating a relationship with a specific group which we believe in, Save the Children, and we believe in the way they are doing business, hand up rather than hand out.
That completes our trip around the Caltex world and wraps up this edition of Caltex Video Magazine. Look for more exciting news about the world of Caltex in upcoming programs. Thanks for joining us for Caltex Video Magazine. I'm Gloria Barron.